Welcome to Hort Culture, where a group of extension professionals and plant people talk about the business, production, and joy of planting seeds and helping them grow. Join us as we explore the culture of horticulture. Okay, it gets dark early now. What time is everybody going to bed at the same time they go to bed in the summer, or are you going to bed early? Like, or late? What's
You
the
mean
vibe?
you mean for the winter nap, or actually going to bed and staying to bed for a while?
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
I mean, like the daily bedtime. Has it changed with the?
I have some excitement with that. It has for my children.
oh yes,
They've gone to bed a little earlier,
yeah.
but I'm still going to bed later because now I'm like, what am I going to do with myself? I have so much time for activities now because they are asleep a little earlier.
I didn't think
But
about that.
as of today, I saw my little weather app. It's like the sun will set at 5:26 p.m. And I'm just like, man, that's really early.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
It's very early.
the other day we like straight up ate dinner at like 4:30 and we're in bed at like 8:30. And I was like, I don't know if we should keep doing this or do this more.
Yeah, it definitely changes schedules, and I forgot that with Reed, I liked that time of year when it got dark a little bit earlier because he did go to bed a little bit earlier. But I dreaded when it changed back and
Mhm.
stayed light in the summer when he was much younger. And it stayed light till like 9:30 because he didn't want to go to bed at all then, even when he was 3 or 4 or 5. I mean, he just fought it even harder. So we invested in blackout curtains, and it was amazing. So we made our own seasonal changes with him. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like I don't know. This is the season of napping for me. I come home and I want to take a nap. I
I'm
just want
kind
to
of
take a
in it.
nap.
Like I I'm trying to embrace instead of being like really like irritated that it gets dark so early, embracing that like sense of, like slow down and calm that it brings because it's like I can't really be outside
It
doing
goes against
stuff.
your nature. Is that what you're saying?
Oh darn. Yeah, I'm trying to embrace it more. It's getting easier the older I get. I'm like, "Oh, I guess I got to go inside."
It has been nice because we've like, okay, let's go and get chores done, get stuff done
Mm.
early and then have dinner and then we're just in for the rest of the night,
And you're
right?
like, "What
And
if
we're
what
having
if we
like,
did this all year round?" And then you laugh because you know you'll never do it. But
yeah.
it's a nice thought.
Do you have particular cozy dark time activities, the like knitting or playing games or baking cinnamon rolls or anything like that you do mainly when it's in this time?
Yeah, I pick my
Besides
hobbies
sleeping, I
back
love to
up.
sleep, but what was that?
I pick my little hobbies back up, like crochet or making something or doing something, just like little things that remind me that I'm a
Mhm.
human outside of my farm, which is very nice. It's like I regained some of my personality.
Mm.
That's good. That's nice.
Which is
Just
a
a
different
bake.
part of your personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
The seasonal part of your personality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the leaves. Like you've shed the leaves of the farm season, and now you're a deciduous tree, which has its own a leafless deciduous that has its own new identity yet again.
Growth doesn't
Just
stop.
bare
It
my
Contain
only
bare
slows.
bones.
multitudes. You contain multitudes.
How about you, Brett? You have any seasonal changeover?
Um, I love to sleep.
Mhm.
Just
What is
Yeah.
that?
so many
What is sleep
different
in
times.
this
Different
period of
kinds
my
of sleep?
life?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. You like lay down, you close your eyes, and you sort of let go of the psychic reins, and then you can have crazy dreams and thoughts that you don't have to be in control of, and then you wake up either rested or wondering why you're more tired than when you laid down. It's a great experience.
It's
But as far
interesting you
as
mentioned dreams. Yeah, that's I have mythic dreams during the seasonal changeover. I always have. They go in color and everything else. I thought it was Walmart melatonin or melatonin for a while, not to call out a box store. I thought, what is going on? But I think it's seasonal. It's interesting. You mentioned like the quality of sleep. I don't know what it is, but here lately, I have been jotting down book ideas because I dream the entire rise and fall of alien civilizations this time of year in one dream, and I wake
wow,
up exhausted and trying to jot down details. But yeah,
to
it's interesting you
Walmart
mentioned.
to
Yeah,
Walmart for a chance to dream.
yes, that's exactly right.
Uh,
Melatonin, my friend.
but we've been playing some like card games.
Mm.
not playing card games, but trading card games. We've been playing Pokemon and
Oh.
Magic the Gathering.
Ooh, Magic the Gathering. That's a
Annie
good
was a
one.
big Magic head back in the day, and I had some Pokemon cards, and so we've been playing those and just eating butternut squash in lots of different formats.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've been
I like the
having
seasonal change.
Jessica sent us a picture of cinnamon rolls,
Yeah.
and I was not Uber eated or whatever, and otherwise transmitted one of those cinnamon rolls. So
No.
it just felt mean spirited, to be honest, because they looked
A little
very
bit.
good.
They were pretty good. They take all day, so you're in the house more, so able to make those a little more
I don't
often.
see how you
this
hold your
time of
children
year.
off of those all day.
There were lots of tears yesterday of wanting to try them at all different processes
That
of the
was one of
cinnamon
my
rolls.
that's one of my favorite texts. And I read that one aloud to Tyler, and I was just like, you gotta hear this.
It's a good life lesson, right?
Honestly, I related to the kids. I mean, that's me. I'm crying waiting for those
We
things
cried
to make.
as they, as we mixed the dough, that they couldn't eat the dough. We cried as we waited for them to rise because we wanted to try them. We wanted to eat the butter, cinnamon, sugar mixture, and they did. They did eat that when they got a chance.
To be
Delicious.
fair, they each had some and wanted more.
And they wanted more. So it was a whole day of waiting for those cinnamon rolls,
And
but then
then
they
we
finally
cried,
got one.
and then we cried because they were too hot to eat. It was like
Yes.
a book.
Like a
Yep.
Three Little Bears.
So many
Yeah.
tears over here today. We cried because we couldn't eat the yeast foam. We cried because we couldn't eat the raw dough. We cried because even though we ate 2 spoonfuls of the butter, sugar, cinnamon mixture, I said no more. And then we cried that we couldn't eat one before they baked in the oven, and then we cried because they were too hot to eat. But now it is finally time to have one. Laugh emoji, laugh
It had
emoji,
its
laugh
own kind of
emoji.
prose, kind of cadence
Yeah.
to it. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
To all a good night.
Yeah.
Yes,
And to
exactly.
all
It
a
had that
lovely
kind of
cinnamon roll
cadence.
dessert.
Yeah.
More for my 3-year-old. My 5-year-old is a cinnamon roll pro. He can tell you what goes into making them, right?
Mm.
And so this was
Aw.
the first time that my 3-year-old really got to help do the whole process. And he tried to pull the mixer off the shelf multiple times and,
Oh, gosh.
what you would imagine a 3-year-old would do. So he really wanted them. But the funny thing to add to the cinnamon roll saga was first thing this morning, my oldest got up and he marched over to my husband and said, "How many did you eat last night?" And he said, "What?"
Oh,
And he's like, "I
man.
just had one." And he's like, "Because I want more for breakfast and mama made this for me." And he's like, "So don't eat my cinnamon rolls."
No pressure, Dad. No pressure.
"How many did you eat last night?"
How many did you eat? Empty
He
out
knew
your pockets.
exactly how many should be left.
Oh yeah,
That's
he
how he's
counted.
yeah.
learning his math.
Yeah. Math skills
How
or
many
life
cinnamon rolls
skills.
are left?
Yeah, those will be his word problems. Just put them in cinnamon roll form instead of
Mhm.
he has a bunch of apples, he has a bunch of cinnamon rolls. He'll nail it every time.
Right. Exactly.
A cinnamon roll is traveling 80 miles per hour from Denver to Atlanta.
With his dad on the way to the fire department in
Like,
his
okay, all
lunchbox.
right.
Yeah.
This is how slow it has to be for it to be able to get in majority of it into my mouth.
It sounds like a Monty Python skit for those of you guys that may be fans. It's like a laden cinnamon road. Does it float? Yeah.
I feel
There's
like
whole
that
mythology behind this. Yeah.
that should be next year's Halloween costume is cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
They can be
Pillsbury.
cinnamon
Throwing it
rolls.
out there. I'm
Yeah.
just throwing it out there. You can make that out of cardboard.
Sure, right?
cardboard
What can I
queen,
not make
Jessica?
out of cardboard at this point?
I feel like you could do that. You're all about it. I like it.
Well, to get back to the plant part that you all are here for. I mean, we know you're here for
Hort
our witty
Culture.
banter, but the hort culture part of we got through the culture. Let's talk about the hort that we're talking about today. If you've seen from the title of the episode, we're talking about some houseplants today because it's cold and it's dark. So let's talk about all those babies that you brought in, and if you brought them in our areas of Kentucky, probably a couple weeks ago. Unless you're me and I just push it as far as possible. But if you were a good person and you brought your stuff in a timely manner, you may start to notice they're maybe not happy. I think after close to a month, 3 to 4 weeks after you bring them in, is when I start to notice mine go downhill. What about you guys?
Well, I was just going to say, if you didn't bring them in,
They're
we got to talk.
Well, this episode isn't for you.
Well, we did talk on a prior episode, we did talk about those, plants that are bulbs or root structures that should be killed to the ground. This week, we're not talking about that kind of plant. We're talking about the ones that you don't
Yeah.
want to get killed for any reason. So yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I think this is the first year that our houseplants have. Oh, yeah, that our houseplants have looked pretty decent. So I can't say how long it takes for them to look bad because before they just looked bad.
Are you talking about
It
your year-round inside house plants or ones you bring in and
a
out, Brett?
mix, a mix. Yeah,
Mix. Yeah.
Mine are
Yeah,
mostly
I
all
leave most of
inside.
mine inside. Yeah,
Yeah.
I put out a couple. Just I don't know. I'm not very good with like pretty potted, floral things on the deck, but I can keep my houseplants alive for whatever reason. So I did move a few of those that are a little bit easier to keep alive, less likely to kill as I thrust them from one extreme to the other. I
I don't
did
know.
put some of those outside.
I don't know why I just lied because I felt like I would needed to keep the episode alive by saying we don't put any of our houseplants outside. I don't know why I even said that. I was just trying to go with the bit of like assuming, but then I was like, why am I no? So it's all 100% inside.
Well, no,
Um,
Mine are too.
that's an interesting thought though, Brett. I never thought about it that way, but plants that stay inside like year round, they don't have to go through that transition, do they?
Mm-mm.
But I am not good. For some reason, my brain is all wired weird, and like I don't know. I want to shove them outside so they can get shocked again in the spring with sunlight
Mhm.
that's too bright. But I guess I'd never thought about it. But I don't really keep any plants on the inside year round. I don't know why.
well, I
Because
mean,
I
it
love
makes
plants on the inside. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, we don't. Our main reason for not taking them in and out is because
Mm.
the pest stuff that there'd be something that comes back in
Yeah.
on them, and then
Yeah.
we're not
And
gonna.
that's the biggest problem for me is I mean, it's not moving them in and out because I know that when they come back inside, right, there's an acclimation period. You have to adjust as well as the plants have to adjust because you have to adjust your watering and your thinking a little bit. But the biggest thing to me, and I didn't do a good job this fall, I did a great job last fall, was I pre-prepped with I knew that I was going to have some mealybug problems. So I pre-prepped with some systemics and some
Mhm,
insecticidal oil. Did a good job like trimming off dead pieces to
Mhm.
the plant. I had some
mhm.
English ivy, some kind of small stuff that Reed gave to Jennifer several years ago. And, I kind of trimmed off that to the base plant and prepared it to regrow I did a good job just prepping everything, but there's a lot to that. And it started 2 to 3 weeks before I even moved the
Mhm.
plants inside. And a lot of that is just for pest stuff, right?
So
Trying to kind of get
can
out
I
ahead.
ask before we jump into the kind of
Mhm.
how to prep and stuff, like why are you putting them outside in the first place? Um, I mean, there's reasons. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not
Jennifer,
But why?
yeah, why do you do
why did
that?
you do that, you fool?
She likes
Seems
these
dumb.
southern-looking patios. If we'd travel some and down to like Savannah and areas down south. We're always a big fan of all these porches that have all these plants, and that's why we do it. And it seems like a lot of our plants, once we do move them outside, they enter an accelerated growth phase, and we love that. We have a
Definitely.
really good front porch, and that's why we do it. It's like no matter if we give additional artificial light, put them next to a window in the winter. Some of the plants just like to be outside, so they get a boost. They're getting their nature boost by being outdoors.
There's the the biggest plants I put outside are the ones that really need to, from like a bloom perspective, they really need that
Yeah,
shift of light.
yeah,
And so I've got that night blooming cactus or like a Thanksgiving cactus or something like that, Christmas cactus, whatever. Orchids are pretty similar, so it's a lot harder to give. Some plants thrive in the extreme, and that's what makes them bloom, or sends them into, something that needs to happen for them. And so it's much easier to give them that switch to go from outside to inside versus trying to, move them away from the light or, cool them down in some way. It's just that extreme flip of light and temperature happens. So those I put outside for that reason, just
yeah.
from a bloom perspective.
Mhm.
And then anything else that I put out is, um, Really, there's no real rhyme or reason. The only things I do, I put out a couple things in there, pothos and some of that stuff. Maybe I want to
Yeah,
get a little
that
bit
just
bigger.
respond
Um,
and just go crazy with the
yeah,
sunlight,
and
yeah.
if I once I bring them in, even if they're shocked, they might look like crap, but they're not going to die. So like I don't
Yeah.
stress about them. But things that are more sensitive, I don't move in and out. They only
And
stay.
you
Right.
can't completely knock it or blame it on the transition from inside to outside. Now, I've had this discussion with some of our garden clubs. Some of that, when you have leaves, the bottom leaves that start to brown and turn
Mhm,
yellow, a lot of that's a natural process, whether it was inside or outside. A lot of that is
mhm,
just in response to shorter days. So some of this that people observe as, a lot of that is stress and environments. It really, really is different humidity levels, light levels, the whole thing, but some of that is also a natural seasonal variance in response to shorter days, right?
mhm. Yeah.
So, and I try to stress that when we have garden club meetings and we talk about specific different plants. Amaryllis is one, we've talked about before on the show, and they do that. They get a few yellow leaves and they'll go through this succession of dropping the bottom leaves if you grow those year round. But that's a good example of that. So it's a combination of things. And like I said, I always stress also that it's me relearning how to water them because my brain is wired on repetition, and I'll continue to try to water every week. And then I tell myself, whoa, slow down, buddy.
Right.
We've got to change some
Take a
things
beat
because
there,
it's just
Tackett.
take a
I
step
have the
back.
opposite
Take a step
problem. I'm
back.
like, "Oh crap, you need water."
Yeah.
Yeah, same,
Yeah.
same.
Oh,
I
really?
leave mine in all year
Yeah.
round. I think
Do
it's
you?
like if you find like a good spot, right? Because when
Oh,
I
yeah,
moved
that's
to my
true.
new house, like my plants that semi might have been struggling at my old house have like
Mm,
thrived, and now I've like I got them in a spot, and I'm like I'm not moving. That's like my
Yeah.
I have like a giant caletheia, a rattlesnake caletheia, and it is
Mhm.
massive, and it is happy in this
mhm.
corner, and I will never move it from that corner because it
Yeah,
is
some
just it's
plants yeah,
loves it right there.
Caletheia, fiddly figs, like, they're real sensitive to being
Yeah.
moved, so if you find the right spot, don't mess with it, okay?
Yes, always live there.
They are divas, they're very specific, what they like, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the outside thing, it seems like it's on the one hand you could use it to just accelerate growth and kind of you're putting it outside and it's hot and it's humid. It's way more humid than
Mhm.
most of us keep our houses.
Yeah.
But then what happens is you've had it in this awesome environment, and then the transition is really stressful because you've gone from pumping it full of energy. And on top of that, the plant itself has adapted to that environment with its thickness of cuticle, the size of its leaves, the amount of leaves that it has. And now you're going less sunlight, you're going less, lower temperature, lower humidity,
Yeah.
all that. And so it's this kind of trade off. Whereas my plants, they grow very slowly. I mean, they grow
Mhm.
some, like they're putting on
Yeah.
growth, and so that some of them more than others put a lot on. But compared to if they were outside, they
Yeah.
are growing much more slowly. But they don't ever have to adjust, except
Mhm.
to the amount of light that's coming in through the windows. And
That's one thing with the light that I've learned that I have to be super careful of when I transition in the winter. When it goes into spring and I'm moving plants back outside, is I never put them at the back of my house because it's southern facing. And if you want to torch every plant you have, just put it in direct late spring, early summer
yeah,
sun. Immediately, it will
yeah,
melt just about any plant, or it'll bleach it. It'll brown it out, crisp it up. Is I always put those on the front porch where it's dappled afternoon sun. So that I have learned that's why I transition now. I found the perfect transitional spot with our front porch. And if it
Mhm.
wasn't for that, I wouldn't move plants in and out at all if I hadn't have found the right combination. So now I put the plants specifically from the location on the inside to a specific location on the outside. Like Jessica said, I found the perfect spots in all
Right.
seasons for each plant
I
that we
have
typically grow.
my great example is, my lemon tree saga. How many lemon trees have I had? My husband keeps buying them, right? Like, he keeps buying them, and he gets bigger ones every time because, they give him a deal. But,
or it gives them
you
the
can
sense that it's just continued growing. It's like
right,
he's buying the same tree but better
right.
looking.
But that's a great example of one that it stays outside all summer. It is so happy. And then still haven't found the right place to like
Yeah.
overwinter one yet. Did this last winter, was very happy. Child flipped, knocked it, snapped it in half. But I'm sure I'll get another one. I'm sure
At
there'll
some
be
point.
another lemon tree.
I'm sure I'll get
You
another
got to
one.
figure out a way to make lemonade out of a snapped lemon tree.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I
Just when it
don't
was doing
know.
well. Just when it
Yeah,
was
well,
doing well.
this is my, completely unnecessary inserting a bonsai thing into the conversation, but like when trees are coming, when you're trying to get leaves on a tree to be really small so that it looks in proportion on deciduous trees, if you put them into the sun, when they do that, they will generally grow smaller leaves. When you put them
Mhm.
in the shade, they will grow much larger leaves because they're needing to
Mhm.
try to soak up and hit every amount of sunlight, while at the same time not quite or sorry, being able to transpire more because they're probably going to stay wetter, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I'm just thinking about like if that's one of the adaptations that those trees make, just the when you're radically we forget that that plant normally would be rooted in place for its
Mhm.
whole lifespan or for most of its lifespan, whereas we can step out of the shade and because if we're feeling cold, or step out of the sun if we're feeling hot. You're a plant in a pot is kind of a strange thing evolutionarily for the plant to understand that this hyperportability is a strange thing.
I've just moved planets.
Yeah,
You put me
what
on
the
a
heck?
different planet altogether, yeah.
It's just for some reason this just reminds me it's like a power move to be able to like move, a plant in a pot and it's like my husband likes to remind the cat that he's in charge by picking her up and then like holding her and putting her down somewhere else. That's like his way of showing power. And he's like, just remember, I can move you.
Or it's like imagine you're like sitting in your car and you've got the heat cranked and you're in shorts and short sleeves, and then you step out into the 30-degree weather. It's like
Your
you're not
cuticle's not
prepared.
ready
You are not.
already.
There was no adjustment period. You're in there now.
Yeah.
That's
So a
so
gradual
that's so good.
transition is best, is what I'm
So
hearing.
how
No
can you
extremes.
tell, is this just the transition or should I be more worried?
The extreme of the symptoms or the transition of
And
the
I guess
plant itself,
what
yeah.
does the transition look like for those of us who
With some plants,
don't do that?
I mean, somebody mentioned pothos. I mean, some of those, when I bring them on the inside, they may not show a lot of difference other than growth rate. And
Mhm.
that is a good example. Also, I've noticed with pothos, the leaves will be different sizes, Brett. As it gets more sunlight, maybe it's just the fact it has more energy. The energy factories, I mean, its leaves get huge, but when I bring mine in, my particular one, the leaves are a bit smaller and the growth rate's way smaller. But
Mhm.
I'm trying to think what when I bring it in. Succulents can sometimes lose a little bit of their. They don't look as bright depending on what type of succulents you have, especially the more desert-loving succulents. They're just not as vibrant.
So the leaf
Uh,
drop, right?
yeah,
Like
a
my
lot of leaf
lemon
drop.
trees, right? Leaf
Yeah,
drop to a point.
yeah.
Everything shouldn't come
Mhm.
off. There
No,
should still be
to the bare
some leaves
nub.
on there,
No, no.
but quite a bit
Yeah, and
will fall.
acclimation is like more and more even process. So,
Mm-hmm.
you might lose a couple one week, a couple more the next week, a couple more the week after that, and then finally it kind of, stops. So, over after you bring it in about 3 weeks, usually, depending on, as long as you don't have it over a major heat register or something like that, because they do not like dry heat. Most jungle
Which I
plants do not
do.
like.
Mine are really
Yeah.
close because that's the best spot next to the best
Same.
window, but
All
it's
of my
not
heat
good. It's
registers
not
are
good.
right underneath my windows, and I have
Yeah,
them
yeah,
in my windows.
exactly, and we have that discussion all the time with folks. We're like, "Don't do that," but you're probably gonna do that because I'm like, "Put your hardy
If you
plants
do
that
that,
are the toughest next to the
yeah, put
registers."
your hardy plants there,
Yeah.
like, you're just guys that don't seem to, care. Something with, like, a real
What's a hardy
waxy,
plant?
thick cuticle. Something with, like, a waxy, thicker leaf is, like, a good
Pothos or
example of that.
ivies, any of the ivies
Mhm.
generally. Yeah, it's
You
Good
can
plants like
grouping.
that.
As
also
opposed to what?
Like a jade. My curly leaf jade does not like it. I don't know why. Maybe it's just mine.
mm,
But if I stick that guy there, there'll be one side that's unhappy and the other side's really happy. So,
yeah,
So
so
are
in
the
any of the
calathea
tropical,
considered the hardy plant thing, or is that
no,
not?
I don't consider them a hardy plant. Usually, they're a little bit more difficult. Don't put your
Oh, you all
or
mean
your
hardy
orchid
hardy in the sense of like
hard.
robust,
Yeah.
not hardy in the sense of any
I
kind of
think of it in
temperature
terms of
sensitivity.
humidity. I
No,
mean, yeah, the
no.
You
temperature
know
is
what I mean?
bad.
Like a non-hardy perennial
Yeah,
or something
that's
hardy. Yeah.
I don't
more
consider it
they're
hardy until
harder
I've
to
not
kill
killed it.
plants.
Mhm.
You're tough guys. You're
And
tough.
group
You're
them
You're
tough
tough
together,
guys.
right?
girls.
For the
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tough
microclimate.
ladies.
Yeah,
yeah,
so
Oh yeah.
I stuff my windowsills as
Mine
full
are
as
all
possible
together.
yeah. I
right,
put them all together.
for
So when I
but you can
water it,
also well, I was gonna say from a watering perspective, like, if you put a pretty big dish underneath them to catch that water. Just let that water, in this case scenario, if you're above a dry heat register in the winter when you have your heat on a lot, leave that water in there. Normally we say get rid of that water because you don't want to root rot, but that water will evaporate plenty quickly enough and
Really
help with that
quick,
little
yeah.
microclimate. Yeah.
And if you're worried about a deep, saucer, I've even recommended to folks putting like pea gravel or something in the bottom where it lifts that up. That way you have a reservoir of water without the container actually
Mhm.
sitting
Mhm.
deep down into the water. So you kind of get the best of
Yeah.
both worlds.
A lot of people, I've heard some orchid pros say that with their orchids. So they'll put the layer of pea gravel in the bottom dish and then
Yeah.
keep that full. And,
Not in the
they water
pot,
the orchid
but in the
occasionally,
dish.
but the
Yeah.
pot is not actually sitting in water. It's more for
Yeah.
the relative humidity.
That's
And
how
I've
that's how we
always,
that's how we do.
yeah.
Is that how you, and that
Yeah,
works
I
pretty
really
well?
like it because you
Yeah.
basically aren't as worried about uh, overwatering because it can drain away, but there's also a
Mhm.
reservoir that will hold on to. I mean, if you fill it up too much, the thing will still be sitting in water, but it got a little bit
Yeah.
of a
You got
thing, and
like
it
a fudge factor or
keeps that
buffer.
root
Buffer.
zone area, particularly where all those tender tips are, nice
Mhm.
and moist and humid.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do any of you guys grow year round any ferns or move ferns in and out? I do not personally, but
I
I have
kill them.
yeah,
I have a
it's
hare's
tough.
foot fern I've had since college. I got it as I
Mhm.
took have a piece of it from a plant that I repotted in the greenhouse on campus, and I've had it for
Uh,
forever, and it really doesn't grow. I mean, she's pretty big now. She starts to get kind of creepy. If you don't know a hare's foot fern,
Yeah, all that it
they get these
literally looks like
they
an animal.
literally look like hair on these above ground rhizomes. And when I remember
mhm.
when we divided it in the greenhouse, it was in a milk crate. Like, everybody I think knows the size of a milk crate. You couldn't see the milk crate anymore because its rhizomes came out and it looked like almost like spider legs, and they came out and
Mhm.
Oh,
down around the
Looks
milk
very
crate.
animalistic, yeah.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's kind of creepy, but I've
What is
had
this?
it and
It needs a
hair,
Rabbit's
different
foot
name.
fern or
hare's foot
hare's fern, yeah.
hare's foot fern. There's a rabbit's foot and a hare's foot. I get the two confused, but I think hare's
Oh,
foot is the one I have.
Do
yeah.
you
Um,
know? Do you know how you catch a unique rabbit?
Mm.
how?
Huh.
Unique up on it.
Oh,
Do you
man.
know how to? Do you know how to
The
catch it?
universe.
Do you know how to catch a tame rabbit?
Tame
No.
one?
The tame way.
Oh. Reed would appreciate my son would appreciate both of those jokes
That
because
is that is
Ray's like
they
writing
work
it
in a
down.
variety of
that
situations.
is deep from my dad's bag.
I
So
think he
respect
broke
where it's
that
due.
out. I think he
Yeah.
broke that out on Reed, Brett, and
Uh-huh.
he pulled that on his friends, and they were like, "Oh, lots of groans," so it was a success.
Yeah. Reed's or Ray's son and I like to exchange
Yeah,
notes on jokes.
yeah,
So
you both like the phonetic jokes. Yeah,
Mhm.
I love it.
I just can't remember them. Like the fact that you can pull that out of somewhere in your brain at any given chance is just impressive to me.
It's at the very
Um,
top. It's ready all the time.
I'm gifted. What can I say? I don't know anything about houseplants, and instead I know these things.
You're keeping them alive, so
That's right.
we
you're
we
keeping
each
them
have our
alive.
value here. Okay.
Exactly.
Well, I want to hear how you guys determine like when a plant needs water when you bring it in because it is a different watering schedule. Either
Mm.
depending on your heat source on the inside. Like, how do you guys tell? Everybody's got their little tricks. I mean, so how are you
And
guys
I'll
lifters or soil
one
pokers?
up you with a follow-up question of what
Okay,
is your mechanism for watering?
Mm.
okay.
Because
So,
I think there's more to this than people let on. And anyway, there's more
mm-hmm.
variability in how people do it. I'll put it that way.
Oh,
So
probably so.
I'll start
Probably
with
so.
me. I generally try to give it the lift test, feel the weight
Yeah,
of the pot,
it's my
and
method. Yeah.
I think that like there's kind of like a pretty wide range of that's passable, and then it gets to a point
Mhm.
where you're like that's way too light, and so
When
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
I
pick
would
it up and you go, "Huh,"
yeah
it's like
When
it's
it
a rock
falls
made of
over because of
styrofoam.
the
no,
You're
I've
like,
been working out,
"Whoa,
but
your
that's
not
the
that
register
problem."
blows it over with a gentle breeze, it's blown over. It's probably too lightweight.
And
Yeah.
I think in general, plants, yeah, I would say in general, with the exception of some that are really water loving, in general, plants can dry out way more than we give them
Mhm.
credit
Probably
for.
better than they can stay wet. It's better to
Yeah.
be a bit dry than a bit too wet on the inside when you have such a much slower growth rate typically on the inside.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
Mhm.
my answer. What are your all's answers?
Saying I like the lift test myself.
I do that. Sometimes I just, like, touch the soil to
Yeah.
see, like, but I'm not, like, just patting it on top, right? I'm, like, sticking my fingers down in there to see
Yeah.
how moist it is, lift test, and then I don't know, I might be a bad example. I've this season of my life, I'm like, "Okay, about once a week, does everybody need water? Is somebody re" but then I'll pay attention if somebody is still, like, kinda, doesn't need any, I'm not gonna water
Mhm.
Yeah.
and, "Hey,
Mhm.
you're out of luck until the next the next week," right? But everyone's doing fine, right? And
And
like I
Yeah.
said,
it's
clustered together and
I
and
but
feel
the
like
lift test
yeah.
neglect is more helpful than overcare in almost
oh,
all plant
In
cases.
people
houseplants, hundo.
So
People love
Yeah.
them too
Yeah.
hard. They love them
yeah.
so much, and
To
then
death.
they just kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to have, like, more of a hands-off approach
Mhm.
with them
Succulents, that's
and
I mean, yeah, that's my biggest I mean, I just will give them a little shot of water, and I'm like, "Oh, that does not bode well."
yeah, if you
Yeah.
wanna do stuff and see stuff and all, like, plant some vegetable plants or something
I
or
have,
get a dog.
I have
Get a pet.
some, philodendron, like a vine philodendron and pothos above, like, in my kitchen, like, on the top of my cabinets, and, those things get so like they get so wilted, like to the point where like I almost can't like if I can't see the leaves that are like around the crown, like I just see the ones that are like vining down. I mean, they're so wilted I can't even see the top of the
You're
Mm.
plant
like, "I've
anymore.
killed
Then
it
I'm like,
this
ah,
time."
I should probably water those. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's my because
yeah.
I'm they're too tall for me to like really feel the soil, and they're like to get up
You
there and like lift them because the
you just,
vines are
like,
kind of trailing everywhere is a
throw
pain. So
water
I
up
just
there.
kind of wait until they look real bad.
Those are the kind of
And then
plants
I
that
have a
are
really dish under
forgiving.
there and I fill it like I give them a big old drink and
Yeah.
they're okay.
And they're
So
fine. They're
Jo
happy.
well,
yeah,
Jessica,
yeah.
can you give a little bit more description of what you're touching the soil, feeling the soil test? Like, what is that what's that like?
Yeah, I'm using my fingers and sticking my fingers down into the pot,
I
the
go
pot
to
of
like the
How
soil.
middle
deep?
knuckle.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
about your, like, middle
Yeah.
knuckle,
Okay.
and just see because sometimes, it could still feel maybe a little damp on top,
Mhm.
but, like, once you get your fingers down there, it might be
Okay,
quite
so
dry.
I am sometimes on this podcast, I act like a moron and and then other times I just am one, like I'm playing myself, and
Keep them
so
guessing.
you're feeling when you're putting your finger in, you're feeling the moisture in the soil directly, or you're putting your finger in there and then you're pulling your finger out and seeing if it feels wet?
Feeling the moisture directly.
Same.
What the heck does it feel like?
It feels like moist.
Are your hands too like
Is it
is your
cold
skin
like,
too
cold?
thick? You can't feel it?
My hand is it's left out in the sun, so the cuticle is very thick.
I was like, "Is this a trick question?"
I know.
No,
I
it's
was
not a
like, I
trick.
don't
It's
know.
not. It's not a trick question. I'm not doing a bit. I like
I was like, what am I supposed to say?"
It
because there's
just
gradations to the level of moisture. I think. Like,
yeah.
is it if it doesn't feel like a crispy sponge all the way down into there, then that's considered moist.
Now, when I first bring my plants in, I do both the lift test and the poke test to see if there's moisture because I'm trying to get a handle on and I'm trying to, zone in on my water schedule. I do both, and then later on, when I think I've got a handle on it, I'll quit doing the soil test. But now some plants, like the St. Francis ivy, we have a big pot of that. I can't even find the
Mhm.
surface of the soil; it's so thick, so I can't do the
Mhm.
the poke test. But I
Mhm.
I kind of use both when I first bring them in because I'm a little bit cautious of you know the different big difference on the inside when you bring plants in. Well, the temperature outside determines how long your heat runs, so your schedule really varies based on the outdoor temperature because that causes your whatever your heat system is to run sometimes dries plants out quicker. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
I'll use both those tests like you were talking about and Jessica was talking about. I do the moisture test, but I don't find it as useful as the lift test.
If
But yeah,
if my
certain plants
finger
it work
feels
for
damp at all and I don't water,
dripping moisture and it's
like it needs
basically
to feel like I
soaking it.
need to not feel any moisture,
Oh, gotcha.
and
But
that's
how
when
do
I
you
water.
feel the moisture without taking your finger out and seeing if it feels wet?
But also the
I
soil
mean,
is, like, will stick to your fingers and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
So,
I don't know
It's
how
like the
you
batter
can't
test.
feel it.
That's spoken like a true baker,
a
Jessica.
ba a
If
batter
you take a toothpick and stick it into a cake and pull it out and it's
So I
unstick,
That's
will
true.
I
that's
will
true.
just
That's true.
say
See?
I will just say I think that sometimes people who are pretty decent with houseplants or very experienced with houseplants do
Mm,
things on a tactile and instinctive basis that's really
mhm.
hard for someone who's analytical or inexperienced to understand. Some of it's just hard to explain.
It
Yeah.
But
is, yeah.
like, but like again,
You're
I'm like, should this if this doesn't
Skill you
feel like
gain
a
over
dried
time.
crispy sponge, then I
Yeah.
don't water. Or sorry, I have to
if
wait
it
until this
doesn't
feels
feel
like
like
a
yeah, like, just like dry potting soil. Like if you've got
No.
houseplants, you've
Yeah.
probably experienced dry potting soil, right? Like there's no moisture in it. It will blow away in the wind. Like there's nothing
yeah.
to it. It's not going to stick together. If it feels like that,
I was
then you definitely need to water.
But
And if
I was
not
you
to
gonna
be
say, Alexa.
pedantic, but there is a whole even dry potting soil. If like I did put it into an oven and dried it, it would get
Mm,
even drier and crispier. And so there's like this gradation. And obviously, I think you don't have to be
yeah,
perfect. You don't have to
no,
nail it every time. But I think, yeah, because there's some of them where like it'll get so dry that I could take and just it pulls away from the side of the pot and
yeah,
you can
yeah,
lift it out. That's
right,
too
Yeah,
dry.
that's bad. That seems bad
Yeah,
when you have
that's
a significant soil shrinkage. That's
yeah.
usually not
But
the
that's
not
the
the
thing. That to me is dry.
yeah.
Mhm.
And we're saying if we don't feel more, so that this is where I'm again
Now
I'm not playing the
I let me
moron
put it this way.
and
no,
am the
My
moron.
skin is not sensitive enough to like feel that much gradation. So like
Mm.
the soil could still be, fitted to the pot, like it's not shrunk away
mm,
and it can still feel dry to me but it's not ultimate, it's not like the finest point of dry, but like the tactile what the human skin is capable of is is that. So but
when we have
sometimes
plant
you get
routes, oh, go ahead,
yeah,
Alexis.
Well,
I was gonna say your
I would just like
plants.
to invite people to email
Yeah.
us at hortculturepodcast@gmail.com and you tell me who is being the crazy person here. And if the answer is both, that's okay.
Brett is just
But
looking for
You're
a
not
reason to do an
crazy, it's
Excel
legit,
spreadsheet.
but
I
yeah.
just I have
You're
people
talking
talk.
like moisture meter, like if you wanna
Yeah,
go get a moisture probe, like that's the difference,
yeah.
but like I don't know if the human skin is capable of feeling that much of a difference
I
between
think
like
you
Oh,
said it,
gradation.
Alexis. I had a commercial
I don't
grower one time tell
agree.
me do the pinch test, and that was when I managed a plant route at Berea, and we had a
Mm,
significant amount of soil and like ficus that we could like have access to, and we were trying
mm,
to get a handle on like when to water those. We do the pinch test, which is kind of like if you've ever done any composting, you do the moisture test by squeezing. We do
Mm.
a
mhm,
little bit of the pinch test at the side of the pot, and if any of it sticks together, no water. If you pinch it and none of it
mhm.
sticks together, then you water. So
Oh,
that was a
That's a
more
good one.
and
Yeah.
it was kind of what like Brett said. You're trying to teach a bunch of college kids, age kids that maybe have never really paid any attention to things like that. And I thought that was a really cool way of kind of
Uh-huh.
teaching us when to water, not to water specific plants was the little because it was standard peat mix, right? Like a
Mhm,
commercial
mhm.
mix, like a whatever metro mix, and we would pinch that, and that was a pretty good test.
Yeah.
But you
It's like
said that a
tillage,
minute
like
ago, and
similar.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what we did, a little pinch test. And once we got a handle on the rhythms, we didn't have to do that as much. We'd just
Mhm.
do the lift test.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I
and
think
then you do the pinch and the lift at the same time, and you get a feel
Yes,
for
that's
like, "Oh, I'm
exactly
not
what we
watering,
do.
this is how
That's
heavy
what
it
we would
feels."
do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, I think
multiple
a lot
touch
of those
points.
shorthand tests like that, they're just to get you started
Yeah,
to the point where you then develop some of that experience and intuition. And some people will have that better than others. That
yeah,
there's Alexis has that in a different way than I do, and I don't think part of it's experience, but part of it's also just
The
differences
way your
in
brain
the
works.
way the way you
Mhm.
experience the
no,
world. And
that's
I
so
tried
yeah.
to tell Annie, Brett's wife, Annie, she was asking about watering her houseplants, and she took me on a tour, and she's like, "How do I know when to water?" And I was like, "Just feel it." And she's like, "Okay, but
Yeah.
like, can I water like once a week?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, what?" And I was like, "Yeah, they're all different, and there are different pot sizes, and you just kind of have to feel them every week." And she's like, I don't understand." I was like, "Yeah, yeah,
too
like
much
pick this one
variation.
up, then pick this one up." She was like,
Now,
I
there
need
are
things.
tools for you guys. You guys mentioned like tools of the trade. I don't really use them a lot, but I know gardeners that do, especially the really like advanced like orchid type growers or not
Mm,
necessarily for orchids, but there's moisture meters you can get. There's light meters you can get that maybe you don't need those on a small scale, but if you're on a larger scale trying out a new potting mix or something or whatever,
mhm.
there are meters to more accurately quantify this, I guess, isn't there, Brett? For all
Or
of
if
Yeah.
these
you just
things,
struggle.
moisture, everything. Yeah, or if you just struggle, you can even get apps on your phone, and these things are like the Internet of Things. You plug in a little sensor, and it
Mhm.
will do the moisture and
Put down
transmit
in the
it to your
soil.
phone.
Yeah.
It'll tell you temperature. It'll tell you pH. I don't put as much stock into that, but yeah, it'll tell you all of these cool things and transmit it to your phone for you gearheads that want to kind of be a bit more accurate about this. And there's some really cool tools out there. I particularly like the light meters
Yeah.
Mhm.
that you can get. I mean, a $20 lot meter
Yeah, I was
from
gonna
your
say they're way more affordable. The all
yeah,
of those, you can get them for not that much money, and
and
it's
they
very cool.
cost a lot of money. If you spend $40 on a two-part lot meter, you get an incredible device that's commercial quality, $40 to $50, and homeowners can get the $20 version that'll suit their needs to tell how many, is it foot candles that they all measure in?
Mhm.
They've got
Yeah, they
the
can correct the
luminescence.
lumens and all that,
Yeah.
yeah.
But very accessible these tools are for homeowners to tell light requirements and moisture requirements. If you really want to fine tune that, the type A in my brain really likes that. Do I use them a lot? Just at home? No, I don't. But I really like
Yeah, I
those
used
tools.
it so what Ray's talking about, if this light meter is like this little box, and it's got a sensor on the top, and you can hold it like in, daylight or under a light or whatever, and it will tell you light intensity so that you can then
Mhm.
Mhm.
kind of compare. I think there's still a difference between the same relative lumens of sunlight versus other light because of the spectra are different, but anyway, but I've used it under like shade cloth to see if I had
Mm.
enough shade
Oh,
cloth to get the
yeah.
level of shade that I was looking for. I,
Mhm.
I have one naturally, as the person
Yeah.
who's saying, "Well, how do
Not
you tell? How do you
surprising.
tell with your finger if it's blah 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 blah?" Um, and I have the moisture meter too, and it's a little
Oh,
less resolute. It has
yeah.
it just says wet or very wet or dry or very
Or
dry.
try again.
Um, but it also has a temperature. I use it to check soil
Oh,
temperatures in the
yeah.
summer. But yeah, I think that we have gotten better because Annie and I think both have different approaches, and so I will kind of come with the big deep soaking
Mhm.
water, and she'll kind of monitor them on an ongoing basis.
Mhm.
So that's why I wanted to ask about your all's method for doing your
Yeah,
watering when
you
it's
My
asked about
method
it
inside.
is to
earlier.
water while I'm brushing my teeth with yesterday's water bottle.
What
So
is
I don't know.
yesterday's water bottle? What does that mean?
It
How well
just means like
hydrated
so
are
like
you?
I'll fill my water bottle up, throughout the day if I don't drink it all, and
Oh,
it's
I
just like
see.
water in my cup
Oh,
or
I see. Mhm.
random cups or random bottles that I have, and like I'll be brushing my teeth and just be like, let me just go, and I'm weird. I don't know. I can't stand in the bathroom and just brush my teeth. Like I just walk around
Mm.
and look at things, and
It
that's like my
feels
time. What?
feels like a
Like a waste of
2000s
life.
2000s movie, like late 2000 teens Manic Pixie Dream Girl, like going
Mm.
around and watering her plants and
And
Yeah.
listening to the
Listen to
Shins
your
or
favorite
something.
emo
yeah,
song, yeah.
it's not nearly that cute, but it is the time that for some reason my brain thinks like while you're brushing your teeth, just go walk around and look at your plants. It's just a thing that I like to do. And then I'll look at one and be like, you look like you need water. And I just grab the closest thing that has water in it. I
I would
water
do the flood
it.
watering, like, for certain kinds of plants, like, we've talked about succulents, and I have good luck with flood watering those, but not very
Mm,
often, long periods in between time, especially on the
mm,
inside. And what are
And
some of
how
the other
about
real
how
salt
long is a long period of time? Sorry.
uh, for my average succulents in, like, a, shallow dish, I don't know, with average winter temperatures, you mean times between watering?
Yeah, like, are we talking days, weeks, months?
No, I water just a little bit regularly, and by regularly, I mean once every couple of weeks, but
Okay.
it's highly variable based on your habits. If you water a lot, you have to extend that out in between times, and your
mhm,
mix, okay, has a big
Yeah.
matters a lot. But what are some others? I'm trying to think of some other salt sensitive plants that I will flood, like spathiphyllum, like
mm,
they're real salt sensitive. Every now and again, if I
Mm.
see them starting to show signs, like around the edges or whatever of salt damage, I will, like, try to wash as much salts out of this accumulated salts out of the soil. But now flood
mhm.
watering, I'm a big fan of. Is that kind of what you were getting at,
Yeah, what does
Brett?
that look like? What does that mean?
Really just is exactly what it is. I will put it under, usually in the bathtub, put it under there and just water, 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 just constant, constant, constant water for a
And it's
while.
draining out the bottom?
And it's draining out the bottom for a while. And then,
Like, is that a while being 5 seconds, 5 minutes,
I'll
somewhere in
do
between?
2 to 3 minutes,
Wow,
depending
okay,
on how
yeah.
much. I mean, and then some plants respond well to that. All of my succulents, they don't mind that a bit,
And
and it
what's the thought of the flood watering versus, like, what do you
mimicking natural cycles for certain
mm,
types of plants, the boom and bust cycle that like desert plants see. That's
Mhm.
their native growing habit. Is
mhm,
they see lots of rain, then they don't see much moisture for a long period of time, and
mhm.
that's the plants that I find respond best to that.
Yeah, I see like some big cacti nurseries will act like when they have like mother plants and stuff like that, they'll actually put the entire plant like in a big barrel, like whole plant,
Oh,
leaves,
it's like just
everything,
put
and
it
they'll
in there,
soak
yeah.
them. And part of that is like they'll put a little bit of like a Dawn dish soap or insecticidal oil or something along those lines, of some sort of oil
Yeah.
in a very 10% small solution, and it helps with pests too. So
Mhm.
if you've got scales or mealy bugs or something in the soil, on the leaves, in those tight crevices, they'll
Yeah.
just, and you can do that with a lot of different house plants.
Huh.
The big thing is don't it's not like a long period of time. Like it's 10 minutes where
Yeah.
they're weighted down, you think you're drowning them, you're waterboarding them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it kind of lets a lot of that stuff come out and disappear. And then you bring it back out, maybe throw in a little bit of fresh potting soil if it came off. But that can be really beneficial for a lot of plants as do that transition out to in can be an option
It floats a lot of
too.
that dead stuff out of the top of the soil
Mhm.
if it's a little hard to clean out. I like
Mhm.
the insect angle on that too, because
Yeah.
that's the stuff I struggle with the most is if I bring in or mealybugs or aphids or
Mhm. And, like, some
ugh,
of those plants, like, I'm thinking of, like, curly leaf Hoya, if you've ever seen those before,
hard
like,
to spray
getting in those
insecticidal
nooks
oil
and
or anything else.
crannies
Yeah.
is impossible, to get
Yeah.
even to get spray, and, like, systemics work, but, you gotta be careful with those too, and so, that's
Mhm.
just an option that I thought was pretty cool, and you can just
That is cool.
drown your bugs, and there's something very invigorating about that,
Yeah.
at least for me, so
Are you guys using supplemental light? That's my next big thing. We talked
Ooh,
about
I
like
just
a
bought new
cool.
ones. Yeah.
What is so yeah, I mean, that's something that the tech there and the energy usage has
Mhm.
gotten so good, but my favorite thing is, like, built-in inline timers. You just pop a couple and
Yeah,
do, like, 4, 6, 12 hours or whatever, and these
Mhm.
things have gotten so affordable, but what kind did you get, Alexis? Like an adjustable tripod kinda thing or
Well, we
what?
should ask Jessica what kind she recommended
Oh,
her grandma.
I
Oh, oh,
I'm probably the
yes.
worst though at this with this funny story is because I don't have any grow lights at my house
Mm.
because
Windows
at
may be good enough, yeah.
my new house that was built in 1890 has gigantic
Oh, that's awesome.
windows,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So all of my houseplants are much happier and like blooming and all of that kind of stuff. But my grandma, I probably get my green thumb from her. I was at her house the other day and she has like probably 20 to 40 cuttings of plants that she has taken
Oh,
from her
wow.
yard, from geraniums to impatiens to all sorts of things. And she has requested a grow light setup for Christmas. And I did not think that was weird at all, being a plant person. But apparently, everybody else in my family thought that was very weird that grandma wants a grow light set up in her basement.
she's been following the
Um, and
legislation closely.
I was just like, "Why are y'all acting weird?" Like, she
Why are
has
you
all
weird?
these plants that one, I'm like,
Yeah.
"What are you gonna do
What?
with all these?" But everybody else was highly concerned about my grandma wanting a grow light set up. So, I directed her to some of, my favorite, gardening companies that also
Mhm.
sell grow light setups for the nice ones with the shelves and the
Mhm.
stand instead of some of the little tabletop ones that you see, because I guess it also depends on what you're doing,
Mhm.
right,
Yeah,
with them.
Yeah.
That if you just need those freestanding ones, which I've
yeah.
seen those before. I don't know. You have any of the
I
freestanding
have 2 or
ones?
3 of those at home, though. Is that the kind you got, Alexis, or
I've got two kinds. I've got one that is got a clip, so it clips on. I have this like
Oh,
cute
yeah, yeah.
little rack indoor
Mhm.
with multiple layer levels on it, and so it clips onto there, and then it has these like flexible,
Yeah,
arms that I
snakes or
can point
whatever.
out. Yeah, snake arms. So there's like four different LEDs with timer, and I can do warm light, cool light, mixed light.
Oh,
So if I want them to
nice.
bloom versus I want vegetative growth versus just full spectrum, I can set it on that, and then I can adjust them which is really nice. And then this year I bought, because I've got a couple, biggest reason I have lights, because I'm like, Jessica, I have an old house and they actually did a good job of putting in good light. So we have good light, but I, of course, want to put plants in areas that plants probably don't need to be. So that's where I got light. But I found these new ones for those like dark corners, and it looks like a little ring light. And like a little halo, and it
Mhm.
has a stick, like a little stick on it that you can put down into the pot, and it
Very
extends or
cool.
gets shorter. Yeah, and then I have it, and so what I like about it is I can get that light right at the crown of the plant, which is where
Mhm.
you'll get a lot of rot if you overwater and things like that. So I've got that light shining right there on the crown of the plant. It's just, really contained. It's just for that one plant. It's kind of cute in a little corner. And I can also set that for a timer as well. So I'm really pumped about those.
And it looks like a little angel plant because it's got its
It
little
does.
halo.
It's
Got
so
its own little
cute on my
halo.
devil's ivy, which is
I was
great.
gonna say,
Yeah.
what is the plant? I was gonna ask what
Lucifer
it was.
was an angel once.
I've got it on one of my pothos that I put out. The only one that I put out on the porch that I'm like, ooh, if you don't get light, you're gonna be real mad at me.
Not
And
happy.
then the other one is gonna go in the ZZ plant I have in a very dark corner. Like it's too
If
dark for
you
even a
can't
ZZ
grow
plant.
that, then yeah,
Oh,
that's pretty incredible for
I'm
those,
like,
yeah.
I don't want to threaten you this
You
way.
know
You're good to me. So
it was amazing, Brett, you mentioned you had a light meter, and it was so informative for me years ago when we had the plant route. And one of the things our person that was sort of directing us and kind of getting us oriented to the plant route was this. He said, took a measure, 1 foot from the window, and it had so many
Mhm.
lumens,
Yeah.
and then backed up another foot, and it cut the lumens by
It's crazy.
2/3. And the fall off, he's like, now see, placement is important. And a lot of these were like in businesses that had really good light exposure, but it's like, listen, you can't back these things up if they love light, not even a foot. But he showed us
Mhm.
what a difference like a foot makes. So light quality in the winter on the inside, super important. And I just popped that 12-hour timer. I probably
Yeah.
shouldn't, but I just put it on the
No, 12
longest
hours. Yep.
duration I can. I mean, there's 4 and 6. I don't know what those are used for. Me being a guy, I'm like, more is better. So I just 12 hours. I just set it and forget it. If you have one of those, I've
Yeah.
tried it on different settings, and I have the best luck with full spectrum 12
Do
hour.
Mhm.
you do you change your light settings in the growing, quote unquote, growing season?
No, not on the ones I just move in the winter. I personally don't. I probably could do a better job of manipulating the bloom cycles more naturally if I did, but I've never really tuned it down to that extent.
So
I
we're in
Yeah.
like a north and east facing windows, and so
Mhm.
if you're cardinal directionally impaired, they get the north window gets very little direct light and some indirect, and then the east window gets morning light and less as the day goes on. And
Mhm.
so, in other words, these are the lower light side of the house,
Yeah.
um, and lower intensity. And so we keep the supplemental light on year round, and the additional sunlight is sort of like this boost up to a all east facing or all like
Oh,
southeast
gotcha.
facing. You know what I
And
mean? It's like we're
leveling.
trying to offset. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're raising the base level, and then the sun does the adjustment for us, and so we
Makes a
don't do any
difference. Yeah.
changing. But and they seem pretty happy with that.
Mhm. Yeah, I might like turn mine down to like 4 or 6 hours just because
Mhm.
I am in bright light. Mostly because I don't want them to get too excited about being. I'm like, listen, babe, winter will come back. So
Yeah,
I
don't
don't
get
want
too
them to
used
get
to
too
this.
crazy, but that, and I don't want to water them anymore. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I mean,
Don't
there
grow
come
too
from
much. Don't
places
grow
where there
too much.
isn't this intense seasonality like this, like
Mhm.
not to this extent.
Mhm.
They're closer to the equator, so the swings aren't quite so. It depends on the plant, but a lot of them closer to the equator. What were you going
last
to
year.
say, Ray? Sorry,
Oh,
I,
no.
I cut you.
Yeah, I
Jessica.
don't know. There's no formula for these things. People ask the formula of, just like Annie, you were having the discussion, how often? Just give me the formula, or how many days or whatever. It just all depends on the plant and what's going on outside, how long your heat runs, which window do you have a plant by. And
Mhm.
it's just the only way I know how to do it is just try to keep the same plant without killing it for 2 or 3 seasons. And I know about how to take care of it in the wintertime and how to transition it out to that one spot on one particular porch area that we have, or one
And
back
also,
deck
if you
area.
kill it, it's probably not that big of a deal, so, like,
No, it wasn't
It's
be
strong
with
enough
okay.
yourself.
anyways. It
That's how
wasn't
you
hardy.
know you're a true plant person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you haven't
It's
killed a
okay.
few plants, you're not trying hard enough to try different
You gotta
things.
push the limits.
You do.
When the
That's part of our
reproductive
plan.
cycle, I mean, we have this. This is going to get a little bit much, so cut me off. But
1,000-foot view.
like we have this idea of like our life cycle, life everything. It takes 9 months for us to gestate. There's some of these plants. If you put them in a pot, by the end of the weekend, they're going to have roots and be a new plant. And so the
Mhm.
idea of like death and life turning over in the plant world is very, very different prospect
Mhm.
for a lot of these. If it's a seed, some kind of crazy seed based thing, then maybe not. But it's not. You're not killing an 80-year-old person in that plant. It's just a different logic. You got to get your
Yeah.
find your own way to justify
I
it,
don't
like
know
This
we're
is
if you
why
doing
I
have
right
that
don't
now.
do, like,
jade mother
animals
plant
like
in the
that.
greenhouse. I don't know. That
You
thing's
just
a
have to
time
find
investment.
the right plant for you, right? Like
I can
the
tell you it's not air
no
plants for me, so
right? No, know which one works for you in your setting. So
You're more of an
Mhm.
earthbender,
yeah,
Not an
yeah,
air
I'm gonna need
plant.
not an airbender.
I'm an
I'm
earth
a fire
sign, I need
plant.
that good soil, air signs are not for me.
Deep roots, not shallow air
Yeah,
roots.
I don't know what that is. Me and epiphytes struggle, so
Mhm.
You're loving them too
Me and
much.
epiphytes get into epic fights.
Nice.
facts. That's our
You're
next
not gonna
shirt.
top that, Brett. You're
And
not
by
gonna top
next,
it
I
this
mean,
episode.
like, we have to have one first, but, like, when we do, that's our next shirt.
Yeah. So speaking of which, if you all are still interested in merch, you have to email us and let us know that you're interested in merch if we're actually going to go forward and
If
do
you want
this.
that epiphytic
We've been
merch,
looking forward into it. Yeah, we've been looking into it a little bit, and it seems to be possible despite operating within the big blue machine. So if you really want merch and you're actually going to buy it, let us know in the comments on Instagram. Let us know and anywhere else.
Email,
that's a shout.
whatever. Yeah, and with that, perfect end. Thank you, Brad. Just going in there.
Leading us out.
Email us, comment on Instagram at Hort Culture Podcast. Leave us a review and say need merch now, 5 stars. That would be great. Helps other people find us in case they want really cool merch like Epiphytes are epic fights. I'm in. I'm into this. Sold. Take my money. I will be paying for it as well. So if you want some, definitely let us know. But we are excited that you were here with us today. We hope you got something fun out of this, or at least just got to chill with your friends on the pod, because that's what it feels like when I listen to podcasts. I'm just with my friends. So we hope you feel like that too, and that you'll join us next time. Have a great one.